In this third episode in our 6-part series, How to Build a Deck, we'll show you how to set the proper footings to support your deck. For steps on design and layouts, watch the previous episodes in this series at Lowe's.com/videos. There are various methods for constructing footings. Now in our area, we'll dig below the frost line and set our posts on concrete. Now that requires some manual labor, so it's a good idea to have some assistance. Oliver here is going to help us out. Now remember, if this doesn't sound like something you want to do, call Lowe's. We can install your deck for you. Make sure you have a building permit and follow the building codes for your area. The codes may recommend how to construct your footings. They should state minimum hole diameter and depth. In most cases, you'll have to set the foundation below the frost line. Now in the previous video, we showed how to lay out the deck. Now here, we've already removed the sod, and now we're digging the post holes. Now when it comes to digging, you can do it a couple of ways. You can use a shovel, post hole digger, and spud bar, or you can use an auger to get the job done. Now this machine can make the job easier, but it does require some strength to operate. Use a shovel to get rid of the excess dirt. Now once you get to the depth required by code, move on to the next hole. When all the holes are dug, don't go any further before you check with your building department to see if an inspection is required at this point. Now roll out the landscape fabric. Cut openings for the holes, and you're ready to set the posts. Now make sure your posts are long enough to reach the proper height once they're set in the ground. Now if you're doing a large deck with a lot of posts, you might consider having the concrete delivered pre-mixed. But for this smaller job, we'll mix ours in a wheelbarrow following the manufacturer's directions. Scoop the concrete into the hole to code level. Then use a board to work the concrete, eliminating air pockets. Check that the concrete is level. When the concrete is set, place the post on the footing. Check that it's plumb with a post level. Use the layout strings to keep the posts in line. You can attach temporary braces if needed. Then fill the hole with gravel. Once the rest of the posts are set, cover the landscape fabric with gravel. Then let the concrete set for a few days to ensure that the footings are solid and strong. The next step is to attach the beams that will support the decking. There are several ways to do this. Now our code requires us to use carriage bolts through the beams and posts. In the previous video of this series, we made a mark on the house that indicated the bottom of the joist. That's going to help us locate the beams. So we'll start by setting the end of a chalk line at the mark while holding it against the post. When it's level, snap the line. This is where the top of our beam should line up. Mark all the posts this way. Now measure down the width of the beam to make a mark where you'll attach cleats. Just use 2x the same width as your post and attach with nails or screws. Now we've already cut our beams to length. Now they might have a slight arc called the crown. You want to make sure the crown is always up. Now we'll place them on the cleats. Use a clamp if you need to. Then drill the bolt holes. Insert the bolts and tighten. Now cut the posts to length. So with the foundation set, we're ready to start framing. To learn how, check out the next episode in this series, Framing and Decking, at Lowe's.com/videos.